I've been asked these questions a lot. How do you get into Cambridge? What do you need to do in interviews, etc.? To answer these questions once and for all, here are 10 common misconceptions of Cambridge interviews. One thing I must say before I start is that my experience revolves around the STEM interviews, meaning it might not be exactly the same with humanities subjects. However, many of the concepts apply equally on all candidates. So without further ado, let's begin. Number 1. Wear smart. No, I'm not saying that you should go in your pajamas. It's just the fact that people put so much focus on, oh, you need to look your smartest, or the first thing they look at you is your outfit. In reality, academics are, no offense, some of the most boring people out there, and they really don't care how pretty or handsome you are. To be honest, your outfit only shows your family background. If you rock up in t-shirt and jeans, it doesn't mean you don't care about the interview. It only means that you have a poorer background, and Cambridge don't really care where you're from. In fact, from my experience, if you go in full suit, it only shows to your potential future peers how rich and middle class you are, which could be what you want, but it literally have no impact on your interview whatsoever. Number 2, the interview starts when you walk into the college. Yeah, if that's the case, they'll need to hire many times the regular number of employees every year just to keep track of each candidate. This is logistically impossible to achieve, and hence it is not really a thing they do. On top of this, student helpers have no influence on the interviews at all. They were not given any candidate information or subject-specific tips. In fact, they're only allowed to tell you to relax and be yourself. So no cheating there. Number 3, everything is assessed. If you think everything is assessed, then you're clearly wrong, because they only ever care about your academic results. Work experience doesn't matter, where you're from doesn't matter, race, upbringing, etc. doesn't matter. This means that there's literally nothing to worry about except your own academic excellence. While we're on the topic of work experiences, the most an A-level or IB student can do is working in the service industry, nothing academic related, meaning getting a good internship really comes down to your parents having industrial ties. Once again, something that Cambridge really don't care about. Number 4, panicking is a disadvantage. Yes, the stress level during interviews are very high. I recall my interview was basically me surging with adrenaline and cortisol. Essentially, your body will go on high gear and you'll have a fight or flight response. Many people say if you show that you're panicking, then you're not confident enough and this will be penalized. This is totally not true. Most lecturers I know told me that the purpose of interview is not to make the candidates afraid, and they try their best every year to make sure they feel less stressed. In fact, during my own interview, I was stuttering so hard, I decided to stop halfway, cover my face with my hands, and took a very long and deep breath. The lecturers didn't really do much or say much about it, because it's not something that they were assessing. Number 5, they test you on things off spec. This is arguable, but it's never something that you'll have no idea of. The questions that the lecturers prompt you on will be out of the box, seems to be completely out of the blue. But once you've thought through, you'll realize everything is indeed on specification and you'll have all the tools to solve the puzzle. They'll never ask you anything that you have no idea about. Say, if you've never in your life heard what an alkyne is, they wouldn't ask you to draw the molecule. Number 6, the more you know, the better. In extension to the nothing off spec situation, because Interviews are done quite early on during the academic year, and different schools have different teaching speeds. There will be bound to be topics which are in spec but not yet covered by your school. Many people ask me, is it better if they go ahead and learn the entire specification before the interview? My reply is always, please, for the love of God, do not do that. In fact, the more you know, the more they'll ask, rather than learning stuff that you haven't covered or practiced on at all. I'd rather you revise everything you have already learned to make sure that you're on top of it and completely familiar with the content. Telling them you have not covered the topic is not a penalty, because they know not everyone start and end at the same time. And also, they're there to see what you're capable of rather than what you can already do. Number 7, making a mistake is fatal. I don't actually know why people think this. Everyone makes mistakes, even the academics. I know for a fact that if you know what mistake you've made and manages to fix it before the interview ends, you'll be in a good position. I once said during my interview, carboxylic acid is completely oxidized. And it only took the lecturer one question for me to realize my mistake. Completely oxidized, by definition, means combustion into carbon dioxide and water. Despite this happening, I still got in, so this means making mistakes are definitely allowed. Also, it is essential for you to think out loud. Say exactly what your brain is processing rather than idle and stare blank on a piece of paper. This is not only a way for the lecturer to keep track of your thought process, it also gives them a chance of giving you a hand when you are stuck. Number 8, ask a question in the end. It is obligatory for them to ask you a simple, do you have anything else you want to ask? Question. Do they really care about what you ask? The answer is no. The second they ask this question, they pretty much have switched off their assessment brain or documents on their laptop. Unless the question is really clever or extremely stupid, they will not really keep any notes. I would avoid asking academic questions personally, but that option's open to you. Number 9, external interview advisors are necessary. These EIA services are mostly scams. Let's be honest. What can a person do to boost their interview success? Nothing really. EIAs give advice on which college to apply using statistics, which by itself is a massive loophole that people fall victim to. This deserves its own video. EIAs also provide trial interviews and practice questions, which in some ways might contribute to success, but the lecturers don't use the same questions year after year. These services don't help you with your creative thinking, which Cambridge really wants. They give you a pool of resources to remember. I can guarantee you, if you got in by remembering interview questions, you will struggle or even drop out of Cambridge. Number 10, personal statements are the focus. This one is actually quite dependent on who's interviewing you. To be honest, your personal statement means not much during the interview. Not saying that you shouldn't know what you've written, but don't expect the entire interview to be just about your personal statement. I didn't hear a single word about my personal statement during my interview experience, which was a bit heartbreaking for me because I poured so much effort into it. However, it doesn't mean that personal statements are worth nothing. It only means that there are other parts of the admission process that deals with the personal statement. Writing personal statement is a skill by itself. If you want me to talk about how I constructed my personal statement, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you think this is useful, click the like button, and if you want more similar content, subscribe. I'll see you next time.